What's up, everybody? This is Warren answering a question about ultimate two-car garages, and I love this question because it's basically how we started as fans of cars. You kind of dream about what would be your ultimate garage, and two cars, perfect. It makes it tough. So we'll start with the unlimited budget. For me, I'm going with a modern and nice as I can get luxury car. And in this case, I'm going Bentley Mulsanne. All options, of course. Give me all the champagne flutes you can find. And a sedan would be nice. Could do a lot with that. Big trunk, Home Depot runs, whatnot. And then next to that's going to be a McLaren F1. Not too hard to imagine that combo. So two British cars. Next is my realistic option, which I'm going with an Acura NSX. I'll take a first gen manual, of course. I don't mind the Targa top, and maybe like a dark gray on black, something like that. So that's my NSX. Next to it would be, and this was harder to choose, FJ100 Land Cruiser. Modified enough to have fun on dirt roads and, you know, not worry about running over rocks, but definitely no snorkel. I don't need any of that. But something kind of in between the two. And then my honorable mention for this category was also a G280 Galanda wagon, Mercedes-Benz, straight six, real utilitarian. And then a Vanagon Synchro sunroof. So I kind of nixed those two options because they're just not quite as usable. Daily driving, long distances, stuff like that. They're just a little too utilitarian, too basic. So two Japanese cars for that option. That's an NSX and an FJ100 Land Cruiser. And then the Radwood garage. There was no mention of budget, so I'm just gonna go for it. Chisetta Marauder, and I'm gonna take the prototype car that's at Canepa. So white on red, it's got strakes, it's got double pop-up headlights, a V16, the right wheels. It's just a masterpiece of Radwood. And then on top of that, next to the garage is going to be Mercedes-Benz pre-merger AMG SEC wide body. And it could have some strakes, but not necessary. And AMG Aero wheels on that. Good stance, beefy tires. It's got to have beefy tires. Maybe even some side exit exhaust if we're really feeling ourselves. 6-liter AMG. Just a badass car, and they're still out there, so maybe someday. So anyways, that's Radwood, no budget considered, Chisetta Marauder, and a wide body AMG SEC. So there you go. That's my two-car garage options, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks.
All right, dream car garage, realistic, Radwood era, and money is no object. So I guess we'll start with realistic. For realistic, I think my dream car garage would just, so this is two cars I have to pick. I'd have to go with a family car, and I have to go with a, I would say, some kind of sports car. It's pretty nimble in the mountains and everything. So no brainer for that. I'd go with a 911 SC, so 78 through 83. I go with a coupe or a Targa, really. I don't know. I'm open to a Targa. They don't look as good, but I think the open air experience adds a lot, so I might go with a Targa, but a coupe would be rad too, and definitely a more classic looking, you know, 911 shape for sure. And then as far as the second car, have to go, I kind of want to pick something like, I mean, it's kind of like, I want to say like my GTI or something is the perfect second car, but I'll go with something, how about like a BMW E9? So like a 2800 CSI or something like that would be pretty good, I think. That would kind of check all those classic boxes, and it does have 4 seats, so I can fit my kids in the back, and then, you know, I'd always have my wife's car and stuff if we need to go on a long trip. But as far as my 2-car garage, I think a 911 SC and a BMW E9 Coupe would be pretty dope. And then as far as Radwood, for the Radwood garage, I'd have to go with a 911 again, but I go with a wide body slant nose, so a turbo look slant nose, and G-body 911, and non-turbo, so it'd be like probably a Carrera or SC. So 3-liter, 3.2, slant nose, wide body, Carrera or SC, and probably in coke white. And that would definitely be my Radwood car. And then a secondary Radwood car would be a BMW E28. I go with an Alpina, so either the B7, B9, or B10. I'd probably want an NA one, which I'm not sure which one of those was NA. I know they made a turbo and a few of those. I think NA would probably be a little easier to keep on the road these days, so I go with that. And then for my dream car garage, the first car is super easy. The first one to come to mind was my pick for most beautiful car, Ferrari 250 GT California, short wheelbase, fixed, covered headlight. That's my favorite car of all time and most beautiful car of all time. So I'd have to pick that. And then secondary car, that's where it gets kind of hard. Like I want a car that fits my, my 2 kids and my wife. But part of me wants to go new and just say Panamera or Volvo V90. But I think, or like an old Mercedes 6.9 or something like that. So for that one, I'm having a really hard time. Let's just go with, you know what? I'm just going to go with my realistic one and make it into the dream one. So I'll take a BMW E9, like 3.0 CSI, but let's build it like fully built, maybe E28 M5 running gear and big brakes, stuff like that, to make it a reliable daily driver. Yeah, let's see that. But vintage looking and everything, but modern underneath. So, or semi-modern, more like 80s, 90s modern. 5-speed manual transmission and all that. I'm just having a hard time like picking an old family car that, yeah, probably just go Panamera or V90. So that's my awful choices. I'll probably regret all these and want to change my mind 5 minutes later. But those are my choices for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Mr. Stevenson, aka @MotorAffair on the Instas, wants to know what would be our pick for ultimate 2-car garage, and he gave us 3 options. I think he wants them all answered though, so they're kind of, I guess they're not optional options. Radwood era, ultimate, and then realistic. And I mean realistic meaning something we could actually buy. The good news is that the ultimate and the Radwood actually might have a lot of overlap here. Maybe I can just give one answer for those. F40 absolutely would fall into the Radwood and the ultimate garage. I mean, F40 is my favorite car, period. So and it just happens to be an 80s car, and it is like extremely representative of that era. Just the shape, the twin turbo-ness, the over-the-topness. It's just everything I love about 80s and motorsport and all that good stuff. So it fits right in there. Now for the second pick, given that you have the full-on race car with 2 seats in it, you got to go somewhat practical, right? That's just the way you got to roll. This is where things go into ultimate, because this is a practical car, right? Lamborghini LM002, right next to my Ferrari F40, so you can seat 4 comfortably. It has ground clearance, so it's good to drive on little off-road excursions or whenever you decide to drive over a curb or three. So you can fit some groceries in there, and it's pretty damn epic. But, you know, again, we're Radwood and Ultimate at the same time, right? So, I mean, that is a very valuable machine these days, and it would be very costly to maintain. I mean, you know, the tires famously only get produced every 10 years or so, and they're only produced for those cars, so, or trucks, or SUVs, or whatever the hell you want to call them, tanks, Italian tanks. So, you know, they're not cheap. They run a Lamborghini Countach V12, basically, so, again, maintenance heavy, expensive, but so rewarding. I mean, that sound in that freaking beast of a machine, and it's so rad looking. I mean, it just looks like it's all business. So that would be my Radwood and Ultimate garage. How's that motor affair? Two birds with one stone, or two birds stoned at once, depending on how you want to put that. And for the realistic one, that's a really rough one, because I mean, there are several options, and I think I've already had the combinations, and now it's just a matter of like going through and checking these boxes off, so that I've had the experiences, I've had the ownership experience, and can say I've owned one, know what it's like to own one, or a pair, and I don't know, I might go right back to it. You know, I keep getting asked the same question just by friends. Everyone knows that I have had, you know, over 60 cars, so I always get asked if there's one that I regret selling or one that I wish I could get back. And the more I think about it, and like, especially like the more I see pictures of it, the more I really miss my 993. I think the 993 is like the perfect car for me. It is just obviously the epitome of air-cooledness, or air-cooled performance. It's sure, it's not, you know, you capture the essence, but it's of course not as light, and it has the updated rear suspension, so it doesn't have the playfulness as much as you would get out of the earlier cars. But it's just such a cool, like, beautiful car, such a fun car to drive, and I just connect with it so well. Like, it is all about like how I feel behind the wheel, and like how it communicates with me, and like I know everything that the car is doing at all times, and I feel super confident driving it in any conditions and at any speed. So that would have to be one that would definitely be in there. It is still 90s, so kind of Radwood, but no, we're not going to go that route. So it is definitely one of those ultimate garage cars for me. I would like to get another one in the future and lock it down, maybe as part of a nice little collection, a quiver. Maybe that 2-car collection is probably realistic. So that's one of them. Again, you're in this sort of a 2-seater situation, sports car situation, with a usable frunk. The rear seat's kind of usable for a baby or a legless midget, as they say, or a little person, or what's the correct terminology? I forget. So you have that. Now, the other one, we're going to go back into that practicality realm, and I don't know, I'm like struggling with this one, because right now this car, my 1985 Euro Spec 500 SEC, is supposedly holding a permanent position in my garage, and I don't plan on ever really selling it, and I don't see a reason to, and it is a car that I always want to own. Like, it's just, it has such a cool interior. Like, this design is so awesome. It drives really, really well. For what it is. I mean, this one's got the AMG suspension on it, and it's lowered, and you know, that helps. But it's very wide and low, and I have good rubber on here, so it has a surprising amount of grip. Like, it doesn't really understeer very much. It's a very well balanced car for the size. Of course, it prefers high-speed sweepy stuff, but for this price point especially, like, there really isn't anything that you're going to find that is going to have this level of sense of occasion. 4 windows down, right? You got the pillarless coupe situation going on. I would lower the windows, but it's extremely windy outside right now. We've got like wind gusts up to like 50 miles an hour up the hill here where I live at the moment. But you know, you got this super cool cabin, super cool experience to drive this car, and it looks stunning. I mean, this car has such a presence, and like, it's one of those cars that, you know, beyond car people, like anyone will appreciate. It's like you roll up anywhere and people love it. People want to know what it is, or like they know it's special, they know it's different, and they don't quite know why. And it's you know, the shape, and obviously it's lowered, and you got and I usually just park it with the windows down, and you know, with the tidy Euro bumpers and the big Euro single piece headlights. I mean, it's just such a beautiful car. This is my favorite Bruno Sacco design, and I think it's one of the most beautiful cars ever made. So it's just so well balanced and stunning to look at, and it is equally as nice to drive. I mean, it sounds killer when you get on it. It's super muffled right now. You do get a little bit of grunt up front. We'll maybe get a little run onto the freeway here shortly, but you know, you get all induction noise. But I mean, this nice little free revving V8 is a lot of fun. It's a 5-liter, you know, loves to rev up to 6 grand easily. Let's see how this sounds going over railroad tracks there. Yeah, you know, it's definitely a car that I plan to keep in my garage. Huge trunk, seats 4 comfortably, looks killer doing it. It's one of those cars that I just gotta have, and it's part of my ultimate 2-car garage that I can afford, right? We'll just go with those. There are others that I have in mind, but I haven't owned those yet, like an FDR X7. Maybe I should get one of those next. And of course, we're severely cock-blocked onto the freeway here, so let's see how this goes. Maybe we can manage to squeeze by one of these guys. And absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not a damn chance. Well, we can just cruise smoothly down the road, as we do in one of these, you know, and maybe get on it a little tiny bit. Just to give you guys a little noise. But yeah, there you go. That's my ultimate 2-car garage, or my ultimate 2-car garage answers for you, Mr. Motor Affair.